This is Kate Baconsale. You're listening to Baconsale.
Thousands of creatures called Amazons are loose, disguising themselves amongst Baconsale listeners, until their hunger overtakes them and they transform into people-eating monsters. Are you an Amazon? Is the listener next to you about to transform and use you as a protein snack? With a battle breaking out between all sides, Baconsale is searching for answers about whether they are truly human.
Amazon!
Hey, Jake, you're a protein snack.
Your mom's a protein?
No! Why would you?
Welcome to Baconsale. I'm Joel.
I'm Kent.
And Jacob.
We'd like to thank you so much for listening to our Disney Heroes bracket, the tournament finals last week.
We got it right 100%.
No one disagreed with us at all.
What a nice feeling, too, to know that it's so unanimous when we make decisions like this.
Everyone just agrees and says, yes, this is peaceful, this is accepted. But we'd like to thank you for everyone who submitted a bracket. We really do love seeing how all of your brackets played out. And congratulations once again to Mary Cox.
Mary Cox.
Our winner for
$50 gift card.
$50 gift card to Disney Store for picking Hercules as the correct winner. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
We're going to leave it at the top of a mountain, and you can go get it
come
there.
claim it.
Yeah, you can claim it anytime you want.
It.
Yeah. But that's not what we're talking about today. What are we talking about today, Jacob?
Today we're going to be talking about Amazon.
Amazon.com.
Wait, no, that's not right. That's not Amazon writers.
Wait, Amazon
Kamen
writers.
writers. No, wait, hold on.
Jacob.
We have a special guest.
Jacob,
and
you're not an expert on this.
Oh, really?
I'm not an expert on this.
No, we're not.
Kent's not
I'm not an expert on this.
Kent,
No.
Who is the expert?
That would be Nicole D. Hale.
hello.
Nicole D. Hale. Welcome to the show.
Ore Sanju.
Now, already we've
Ore Sanju too.
we've got it wrong because we're not talking about Amazon writers. We're talking about the whole concept of Kamen writers,
Yeah.
right?
We're not talking about Amazon.com.
Can we
No, no.
spell Kamen right now just to clarify?
Kamen.
Yeah.
Like ramen, but common.
Like ramen,
But
but yeah,
common.
but
Yeah.
common with a K.
Because you hear Kamen Rider, you think it's like a rapper on
Yeah.
a motorcycle. Anyone? Common? Rapper?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
I get it.
But so this is one. Nicole is a member of our Bacon Council, and
Yes.
we give our Bacon Council some maybe too much power sometimes.
so true.
As they have realized.
Because they say, hey, for example, Chris Anderson was like, hey, let's watch all the Studio Ghibli movies. We're
Yeah.
like, that's going to take a
It's
while.
22
but
movies.
okay.
Yeah.
And then with this one, you said, hey, I want to introduce you guys to a show, which I had no concept of. Do you guys have any concept of this before?
0%.
I mean,
And
of course, Power Rangers, but not.
Yeah.
I
we'll
would
get
guess
there.
that
Yeah.
95% of your audience has never even probably heard of this.
So then, Nicole, and we'll get to the introduction of you. We'll get to the questions and everything. But I want just kind of you to give a reason why you wanted to choose this for a Bacon Cell topic.
Great question.
Okay, well, I am super nerdy. If you guys haven't found that out yet,
I can't tell with all the toys over there.
I brought
She
toys.
literally brought toys
I brought-
to the Bacon Cave.
Right.
It's like a little suitcase full of them.
Oh
Two.
no! And then I got 2 bags over there.
And she
wow.
left it. Oh yeah, and she left him in the ball pit we have over there.
Yeah, and we got some gifts as well. You brought us some cups as well.
Yes.
But
Yeah, some etched glass cups with some
Yeah,
logos on them.
some logos.
Yeah,
but
they're cool.
why this topic?
Why? Because
Because you know who we are, right?
yes, I do.
And I think you tried to out-geek us.
Yes, so I'm like, I want to do something geeky that
Right.
some people know, but I also want to out hipster Kent.
Ah, there it is.
Mission accomplished.
I think
Mission
I
accomplished.
So then, first of all, let's have you introduce yourself, who you are.
I am Nicole. I don't know what should I
She
say?
famous for Thank You, Nicole.
Thank
Joel?
you, Nicole.
Yes.
Which literally,
I thought you were going to
that
sing it
song.
there.
no, thank you, Nicole. My wife sent a video message to the Bacon Cell group that we have on Marco Polo. And she sent them a video saying, what were you just singing to my 5-year-old son? And he's like, thank you, Nicole.
Oh, no.
Didn't know that song.
Also, Nicole named my automobile
Yes.
right now.
Yeah.
She
Mazal
named the
Ghul?
Mazal Ghul.
I'm named Mazda.
Really?
Yeah.
Because when you were on Ronin, I think,
Yes.
and you were like, I need a name for this, and I'm like, oh, I know the perfect name, and I was
Because you listened to me long enough that you know
Yes.
my
I
interests.
was just like, okay, Batman.
Yeah.
I know the perfect name, and I was like, so I thought someone else was going to do it. I'm like, okay, I guess I've outgeeked most people again because
You did.
They were like
was a
thinking
good
Nightwing. Nightwing's great, but
Yeah.
come on, it's Mazda. That's
Mazda
just so
Ghul.
perfect.
Now, I was going to say, did you discover Bacon Cell from Radio Ronin, or did you find Bacon Cell
I
independently?
actually just downloaded the Radio Ronin app, and I just listened to all the different.
oh, that's awesome. The whole network.
Yeah, so
How cool is
I
that?
listened to the Supernatural or Life on the Rocks and
Yeah.
Greg's Guide. Yeah, so
Yeah.
We've got the whole family to listen to at work.
Here we are.
Shout out to the Radio Ronin Network.
Yeah.
All good.
And okay, now Nicole, every
Yes.
guest that comes on our show, we remember this every time, and we want to ask them a series of questions.
That's what I heard from Chris. Yes.
It was in the show. But we have a series of questions we want to ask you,
Okay.
and we want you to answer as quickly as possible, whether or not you have an opinion. There's no right or wrong answer.
I'll try not to get in the way.
There's no right or wrong answer, except there kind of is. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Which is better?
No whammies.
Okay.
No.
Which is better, Karate Kid 1 or Karate Kid 2?
See, this is a hard one because I like both of them, but I'm going to say 1 because that got me and my sister into karate.
There you go.
So.
They go to Japan in the second one.
Yeah,
Yes,
they do.
I know they do.
Wow.
But the first one's
Crane kick. Which is worse? Which is worse? Star Wars Episode 1 or Star Wars Episode 2?
See, it's been a while since I had watched the non-cheesy versions, but I'm going with the second one's the worst one.
Okay.
It's the council.
This is going so well.
It's the council.
Do you rate movies using stars or letter grades?
You know what? I used to do letter grades for the longest time, but I've been listening to him too long.
Wait, so you're going against me? The longer you
No,
listen,
the other way. I used to do star grades, and then I do letter grades.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, it was
Okay.
the other way around.
Which is the more America movie, Rocky 4 or Independence Day?
I want to say Rocky 4 because in Independence Day, the president says is everyone's Independence Day.
Everyone becomes American that day. You're right.
no, it's all about America.
You're getting trashed.
No, I got the last two.
You got that one?
Yeah,
I thought
Rocky
you said,
4.
Oh, okay.
Isn't Nightmare Before Christmas a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie?
I don't like Christmas, so it's Halloween.
What?
I work at the post office, so
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Christmas is a nightmare.
Yeah, that would probably burn anybody. Yeah.
Buffy or X-Files?
You know what? I didn't finish Buffy, so I'm going with the X-Files.
All right. Lord of the Rings or Star Wars?
Star Wars, because I one as Princess Leia, one as in second grade. So,
Which movie is more Christmassy, Die Hard or Lethal Weapon?
oh my gosh, it's been so long since I've watched either one, but I'm going with Die Hard just because
People
I
just
can
don't
remember.
know.
Everyone knows. That's 100% of the answers.
Phantom or Les Mis?
Because of my. Because I've seen both of them about a dozen times, I'd say. But
Live performances?
I'd say my favorite live performance was Phantom of the Opera in Las Vegas.
Cool.
So.
Nice.
That's awesome.
And then finally, Labyrinth or Neverending Story?
Oh, that's a hard one. I'm going with Neverending Story, though.
All right.
Okay.
I want to write on
Pretty split.
Falcor.
That was
I
yeah.
want to write on Falcor.
doesn't want to write.
Right.
Yeah,
Make a few wishes.
Yeah.
Lose your memory.
Well, thank you. And now let's get into the protein of the matter.
Nice.
So,
Oh, no.
Kent, before Nicole, before you explain this, Kent and Jacob and myself,
Yeah.
I just want you guys to each give maybe a brief insight into your thoughts and feelings as you begin Amazon Riders on Amazon Prime.
Now, the reason we decided to watch this series, which has been running since 1971,
Not Amazon Riders.
not Amazon Riders, but Kamen Riders.
Like think like Power Rangers, for
Yes.
example. They have all the different incarnations.
Exactly.
And so
And
this has been going
so
for a long time.
Nicole gave us a list of anything we could watch, but we said, hey, we want to watch the most accessible thing. And this is also for you, the listener. If you go to Amazon Prime right now, name not intended, maybe?
No, that's actually what it started out as a joke.
Okay.
So I'll go into like a little bit of a history of Amazon Riders. So they were looking so Amazon over in Japan, they were doing like their Prime Day, and they're like, someone was like, oh, we should bring back Amazon, because Amazon was also a series from the 70s,
Like one of the series of the many.
And so like,
1974,
we
I
should
believe.
do another new series and call it Amazon's and put it on Amazon Prime, and they're like, haha. And they're like, wait, this is a good idea.
Well, it's nice because it allowed us to watch it just
Yeah.
without torrenting anything
Yeah.
or watching
Yeah.
it some strange place online.
Yeah. So it actually started out as a joke, and it worked.
Right. And so
Kent.
we started watching. Okay. It's
The first episode, first impressions.
first impressions. I was like, wow, this is really cool. I see a SWAT team and they're storming an apartment. And I'm like, wow, there's actually a lot of, because you said it was like a grown up Power Rangers. And that's where my mind went. And I was like, no way, she's wrong. This is legit. It seems like there's good actors here, cool cinematography. And then they made a giant spider, and it became
costumes.
the Power Rangers.
Now, you say giant spider.
Okay.
Describe
Yeah.
the giant spider.
There was a man
Yes.
wearing some sort of unitard.
Yes.
And he was wearing like a spider backpack that took over like his whole upper torso.
Like,
Yeah.
picture the bad guys in Power Rangers.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It was honestly like cool, and it's filmed in the rain. Then all of a sudden there was a fight, and the whole thing went bonkers. And then, Nicole, I kind of hated it. Like, I was just going, what are we doing? What are we doing? And honestly, more out of just sheer curiosity, I kept watching this show because our goal was to each watch a season of Amazon Writers.
Yes, 13 episodes. They're about a half hour.
And let me know if
each.
you guys agree, but I watched and watched and watched. I said, okay, now it's just, I get the formula of the show, which is slightly different from Power Rangers,
It
but
is.
still it follows its own
Instead
formula.
of a high school, they wake up in a dingy basement and they.
Well, they've got
and they
they've got the large story arcs as well
They
going
do.
on. Yeah,
And that's when you get to the end of the series, like the last 3 episodes, they move past the whole monster of the episode, monster of the week thing. And there's more of a conspiracy involved. And some of the people that transform, because that's the thing, it is these, some of the characters transform into bugs, but these bugs are basically
Power Rangers.
Power Ranger suits. Jake,
Yeah.
how'd you feel about it?
the question was, what was our
Your
impressions
initial
of the
impressions.
first?
I went a little
impression.
deeper just to give
Okay,
context to the
so
show.
yeah, the first episode, and I finished all 13. With the first episode, I thought, what the heck is going on, right?
Because you were also on heavy medication at the time,
Well, not
right?
the first one, not for the first one.
Okay.
No.
You were, Joel, weren't you?
I was sick.
Yeah, Joel was.
I
Joel was
that
sick,
day,
yeah.
when I first watched it.
I think they
This is
purposely took
serious.
drugs just to find out.
Yeah, I was like,
Oh, man.
They
they're
had
like-
a really different experience than the rest of us.
no, I had a similar experience with Kim because I was like, okay, I see what's going on here, and I'm kind of a baby about subtitles because, well, it's just work, right? It's extra work, and so I'm reading and,
is work.
and well, it also plays this part too because writing is a huge part for me, and so when things are
Wait,
translated,
writing or writing?
writing.
Amazon.
And so every time anything's translated, it always loses something. And the whole time I'm like, man, I wish I could understand the Japanese because I bet that's so much better than, I dislike you when it's translated. I'm like, I don't believe you. That's not what they said. Like, that's not good enough. I thought, man, what in the world's going on? And then they get into the suits, and I'm like, okay, bonkers is actually just the right word.
Yeah.
I was like, this is bonkers. This is crazy.
Yeah.
And I had to have a little break before I continued. But I noticed when it moves to the second episode, it feels like there's a tone shift. There's a big tonal shift for me, at least in this one. And it started to feel like the production value was a little better. They were trying a little harder. I could see a lot of some of the value coming out as it went.
Okay. Well, and for me, I was ill. I binge watched it while I was homesick one day. And it was so bizarre. Like, I'm having a hard time actually differentiating.
It's going to be
one
hard for
from the
people
other.
not to go watch this, just from the way we're
Just from
describing
that
it.
first because like it literally is like they're walking up, it's raining, it's dark, it's
Yeah.
like they're taking forever to walk in this room, and I'm like, what?
They
what's
do take
behind-
forever. Those shots are long.
They don't show people's faces
it's
for the
slow
longest time.
burn. It's the slow burn.
I don't know why the cinematographer decides he doesn't want to show people's faces, but almost every shot, it's like from the back of their head, you see like
Yeah.
the side of their cheek, and then they turn around, and I'm like, is that supposed to be a reveal? I don't know. But I was like, what's it building up to? And then they open the door, and it was a dude in a plastic costume, and I'm like, what? And then,
Yeah.
and then at the end, this other dude comes in, and he's got motorcycle handles on his belt buckle. And
And he turns them
and
like
then he turns one of them. He goes Amazon, and he turns. Then he turns it and it says Alpha, and then he turns into a Power Ranger and fights them. And
he's better looking than a Power Ranger. Come
so-
on.
and the formula essentially is, and Nicole, and let me know if this is for all of Kamen Rider, but essentially there is a team of humans that are hunting down something, and I assume in Kamen Rider, which started way back when, it was like based on one hero that could transform into a
Yep.
suit or
and they
his
call him-
natural
Do
property.
you know why they call him Kamen Rider? I know he has a motorcycle.
So common means mask.
Masked
so
rider.
It's just
Masked
like
rider.
a
Okay.
masked rider. And
Okay.
so rider, of course, means...
Is a motorcycle an essential part of every incarnation?
95% of them. So there's been one rider that hasn't had a motorcycle, and that was Shin. That was just a movie. And then there was one rider that actually has a car.
This
That-
feels very similar to Doctor Who to me.
Totally.
And I'm going to compare it to Doctor Who. I'm going to compare
Yeah.
it to Supernatural. I'm going to
Hey,
compare it...
if you decide to turn off the show, don't. Yes, we're sorry about that.
No, because it does have that Doctor Who feel.
Well, just the longevity of Doctor Who, different characters coming in and taking on the role.
Yeah.
Lots of
Exactly.
incarnations. Yeah.
Different variations on the story, but the kind of the
Mythology.
same overarching.
I want to hear from Nicole though. Tell us about your love of this show. Like that's what I really want to
Okay,
hear.
so
is,
the very first time I watched it, my friend from England was over here, and he showed me an episode of this. It was from O's, and it was about
O's?
O's. It's spelled O, but it's called O's.
What is that?
Yes.
So it's another.
By the way, you've outgeeked us. Talk down to us, please.
So it's another series. So every year they come out with a different series. So it's a good starting
They
point.
being Japan,
Yes. So
or they being Kamen Rider?
no, Kamen Rider.
Okay.
Every year comes out with a different series.
Okay.
And it's usually so like with Amazon's, that's a whole different series than when right now they have ones called Geo. A year ago it was build.
So it's like Kamen Rider Geo.
So
Kamen Rider
O's
build.
is an incarnation of Kamen Rider.
So you
Sounds like
could-
a cereal, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Kamen Rider O's. Amazon scoop.
Spaghettios. No, but so each year you could actually start anew with a new writer, a new storyline, a new experience.
But why? Do they only have a certain story they want to tell, or do actors
Yes.
want
Yeah,
to
are these-
leave and get famous and then kind of move on?
It's a little bit of both. So they have a overarching. So you've seen, like with Power Rangers, they usually have a 2 like mini story arc with like the creature of the week or whatever.
Right.
But they also have a overarching story.
Rita Repulsa or Lord Zed.
Yes. So they have an
Wow.
and most
How many
of the
geekdoms
I'm
are we
going to back away.
well, so most of them start off so like cheesy and like
Yeah.
like kiddie. You're like, but in every single series, something major happens. You're like, this is no longer a kids show, and it starts ramping up, and you're like, oh, it's getting serious.
I do want to clarify because as the voice of the family friendly on the show,
Wait, you're the voice? The
voice of
it's
family
not
friendly.
me.
No. So this is when I say this is Power Rangers. Picture more like maybe teenager Power Rangers.
it's like if Power Rangers
TV-14.
featured a lot of cannibals. That's what the show
Because
is.
here's they will literally grab into one of these monsters' chests and pull out like it's like black blood, but it's like this bloody heart, or they'll rip their
It's
head
all
off.
black
Or
goo,
they'll
though.
cut them in half.
Everything's
It's
black goo. Yeah.
Here's what I was confused with, and let me know if this happens in Kamen Rider, but in Amazon Rider, someone in a suit, so there's no mouth on the suit generally, they will start chewing on someone and you'll hear like flesh kind of ripping, even though clearly there's just
rubbing
a
their
suit.
plastic
they're rubbing a
mask
plastic
on their
mask.
belly.
Well,
And granted, there is blood in here. There's gore
Yeah,
in
this
these
is
episodes.
Amazon.
It's PG-13 gore,
Yeah.
granted, but
The
it
movies
does
are,
get there.
though, I'd
Are they
say-
a little more rated
I
R?
would say the very last movie of Amazon's
Okay.
are.
Oh.
But Amazon's is the most intense, the most gory. And
Oh, so it's like
yes.
So this is like the one
Dark
for Ken.
Horse.
This
Yes,
is this is the dark version. For
honestly,
Ken.
yeah.
So like, okay, let's go back to Power Rangers because that's a tokusatsu show that everyone knows. So
Tokusatsu, yeah,
everyone knows that.
Is that the director or the creator?
Tokusatsu is a genre. So it started off
Oh.
with Godzilla.
See, there you go.
So,
Everybody knows.
So Tokusatsu is basically a story that has a costume, a person playing in a costume, plus special effects.
I had no idea.
How do you spell Tokusatsu?
Tokusatu. Yes.
Oh, Tokukatsu.
Katsu chicken.
Satu. Is that so? It started off with Godzilla. Everyone knows Godzilla.
Guy in a costume.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a guy in a costume.
Man in suit.
And then you add special effects after the end.
Yes.
So so you got Power Rangers, which everyone knows. I'd say it's about ages from 8 to 12, maybe.
Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could probably even go like 6 or
Yeah.
something
And
like that. Like,
Kamen Rider is more for the probably 12 to 16-year-olds. Amazon was created for the adult fan.
Okay, so
So
people
to
have kind of
bring it back.
aged a little bit past, but still want to hold on to the fandom.
So yeah, Amazon is a little darker. And then I always tell people, I'm like, Amazon's is like if Power Rangers grew up and they're suffering from anxiety and depression,
Yeah,
and they're having to defend themselves in The
this,
Walking
this,
Dead.
this is a pitch if I've
So-
ever heard it.
right.
Yeah.
And they have to defend themselves during The Walking Dead. Season 2 is they went to therapy for their anxiety, depression, stabbed the therapist, and they're on the run. You've seen the first episode.
Yeah.
He's
You know
like
what I'm
midway
talking
through the second
It gets
season.
real bloody.
The first episode of that second season, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
But I do more want to stay on the original Kamen Rider
Yeah.
just to give the
So-
whole concept as a whole, because I know when they first started the show, so it was 1971, and a lot like Doctor Who, they went for like a couple decades and then they dropped. They went on hiatus for about 6 years, maybe a little bit longer, and then came back, and they've
Yeah.
just been running since.
Yeah, so they had the originals.
Yeah.
And then they did.
Which, by the way, the guy who was originally in the show left after the first year because he got in an accident.
Yes. Well, see.
Oh wow! Like what kind of accident? Like
he,
car
he was
accident?
performing a stunt, and he. That's why they brought in the second writer. So, like a lot of these series, they'll actually have like buddy writers.
Well, makes sense.
Alpha, Omega.
So
Yeah, he shattered both of his legs in a motorcycle
in an
accident.
Oh my
accident.
gosh.
Yeah,
Jeez.
because he was doing his own stunts, and this
Amazon.
yeah, so he was doing his own stunts. So he was the first person to be outside his suit and inside his suit. So you see the suit actor, you'll see
Yeah.
that people in the suit, they're totally different actors than what you see.
I mean, that was the whole point of Power Rangers is that they filmed all these battles and fights with these people in masks.
But
and
they took
could
it from Super Sentai.
Yeah, they could market it to any country and then just intersperse the live action
Yeah.
parts at the high school.
Yeah, so actually Kamen Rider gave birth to Super Sentai, which gave birth to Power Rangers.
So it's the grandfather.
This is the grandfather
Yeah.
of Power Rangers, literally.
Yeah. So because of his accident, they decided, well, we can't have our actors out for so long. So they're going to get suit actors because they could put any suit actor into the suit.
So the general overall story, from what I understood, so the protagonist is like one hero, whereas the series we watched, there were like three main-ish anti-heroes.
Well, that's the thing is, it was very gray.
Yeah.
in hero versus villain in that.
Yes,
series.
like I said, Amazon's like the black
But
sheep.
the original, there was one hero, and he was a masked rider, and he was going against like the Shocker organization.
Yes.
And he rides a motorcycle, and then he has motorcycle handles on his belt.
Yes.
right?
That's
And that's how he transforms.
Yeah, everyone transforms with the
So
belt.
was he tested on by the organization, and that's why he is?
So the first rider, he was part of the organization, the Shocker organization, and they were trying to create these riders.
By the way, if you work for Shocker organization, probably not good guys.
So and then
It's like working for the Foot Clan.
Yeah.
Basically, that's a good example.
We're going so many levels of geek
I
here.
love turtles too. So anyways, he was kidnapped and he was experimented on, but he escaped and he decided to reverse it and go against the Shocker Corporation.
Can I ask you a question about the series?
Sure.
Is the series in total, are Amazons like the monsters every time? Like they're the ones that you transform into?
So each series has a different. So like in 2002, that's when the series started up with the Heisei era. So when you talk about the original, that was the Showa era. That just
Is that like the showrunner?
No,
of
it's just basically whoever the emperor was at the time.
Oh.
So when
wow.
the emperor changes, they change the new era. So actually, we have a new era coming up that's actually started called the Reiwa era. So we're going to have our first Kamen Rider in the Reiwa era starting on September 1st.
When you say emperor, you mean real life emperor? Mm-hmm. They name them after real life emperor?
Yeah, the series eras.
Is the show influenced all by politics over there?
Not a whole lot.
Okay, so no social issues or anything. It really is
The
just
only one that had really social issues come across was Forze. Forze is probably the most family friendly, and it happened right after the tsunami and the meltdown.
Right.
And so they decided we need to lighten it up,
like bring everyone together,
and
happy mood.
So it's like the ultra happy. It does have its sad moments, though. I mean, it's
Sure.
That by the end you will be crying at some of these series.
Well,
so
so in Amazon Rider, just because that's my point of context here. They have these Amazon cells that they put in people, and
Meaning bug cells.
Yeah, like Amazon does not mean like
Bug is a nickname, though. It's not, yeah.
From it's not from Amazonia. They're not Amazon women when they do this, but these
Too bad.
Amazon, they were all infected, and they're these people who have these latent cells in them, and then at some point these latent cells will awaken, and then they'll become these monsters.
No, in Amazon, they don't really explain the background of that, right? It's just some sort of mutation, and
they
then
say
it takes over the
there was an
cells.
explosion at the plant, and 4,000 people were infected, or something like that. But
they kind of explain a little more in season 2.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, hold on, it's like the Flash, where there are metahumans.
yes, kind of like
And
that.
there are
is, it
good
is, yeah.
metahumans and bad metahumans.
Wow, Flash. Now we're on DC.
I know.
But then there's these and most people can't control it, meaning they turn into these monsters and they're just going to be a wild animal in the streets killing
And eat.
people.
Yes.
But there's a couple who can control it and through the belt, and they'll say, Amazon. Oh, no. But first they'll click the belt.
Alpha.
And then they say Amazon, and then it says Omega. And then they'll transform into the hero.
Yeah, so there's also different levels of the Amazons. If you remember, they have the A, B, C, and D.
Yes, the different types.
Okay,
Now
Alpha and Omega were the type A's.
Okay.
We're kind of like getting into supernatural hour here.
Yeah, we are.
So of course they're going to have the highest quality of suit. They're going to have the highest quality to be able to protect themselves.
not gonna be
against
wearing
And basically, you know them because they're red and green.
Yes.
Like everything else, they're kind of bug-like. They're wearing some weird poncho. The bad guys are.
Darker colors.
darker
darker
colors.
colors.
And then you have the green and red ones who sometimes aren't even all that good.
No.
But they'll be the ones to eventually save the episode.
So that's my question though. Is so that whole idea of latent cells that can turn you into a monster, and then the one guy being a monster but being able to fight against other monsters, is that not common in the entire series?
So
Is that not common in Common?
what's common in Kamen Rider is there's always going to be a good guy and he's going to be your main writer. So you always know that he is going to be your hero, basically.
Okay.
But with all the other writers that come in and out of the series, you don't know if you could trust them or not. Like,
Interesting.
Like Gaim is my absolute favorite.
That's the one you
Which
gave me.
series?
Yes.
She gave me that one.
Hey.
Yes.
I'm her absolute favorite.
I love Gaim because it starts off so cheesy. It starts off with like a dance crew, and you're just
Wow.
like, okay, this is so cheesy. But then something happens.
Dancing, I could see that in this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, totally.
I kind of like that.
It's based on fruits too. I know it's like fruit ninjas.
Joel's based on a fruit. You hate most fruits.
Yeah.
No, basic fruits are fine.
He has an orange slice for a sword, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's right.
But
How does that translate onto when you're watching the fight? How does the orange sword?
And actually, looks so awesome, to tell you.
No,
the
hold
truth.
on. Awesome for you?
No,
Because Nicole, you have to have a lot of patience with this show.
no, that's true.
Yeah.
So, like with most people, you always say give it at least 10 episodes,
Right.
because it will bring you in somehow. So, like with Gaim, you're like, this is the cheesiest thing. There are a bunch of dancers that are trying to compete, but then something happens. So, like our main writer, he gets the powers of a superhero. And you're just like, what does he? If you got a power of a superhero, what would you do? I
Fly.
Yeah, he does everything. He's like, oh well, I got to go to this job. I'm going to wear my super suit and use it on this job. But he screws up everything, and then
So it is more comedic.
This
though.
is the guy that
little bit.
reminds you
Wearing
of
the-
Joel, to be clear.
I like
this
it.
is this
He's
is-
not wearing the suit to like fight. He's wearing the suit to just do things.
at first, yeah.
Wait,
And
okay.
it is pretty funny. But then he makes his first superhero kill, and he's like, yes, I did. But then you find out who it was, and you're just like,
Who was it?
You wanted me to spoil it?
Well,
for you?
yes.
Okay. It was actually his best friend.
So his best friend had become a monster.
His best friend became a monster, but he was so happy that he killed this monster. And then when he finds out that it was, everything starts to go a little dark.
Wow.
And
I'm
then-
all right with this.
And
Yes.
wait, and he still has his orange slice sword this whole
Yes.
time?
I know it sounds.
Wait, so what does Dai Dai
I
Maru
really
mean?
want to see a picture of this.
Yeah.
It's right here. I have it right here. I pulled it up. But it says Dai Dai Maru next to it. What does that mean?
Oh my gosh.
Die, die,
How do you?
Maru.
What
Oh, that's-
keywords do you need for that?
That's kind of like the yeah. So it's basically just the call, like the belts will call it and stuff. So
Okay.
There you go.
And that's the thing. They do, so they'll fight and they'll just do like poorly choreographed karate. And sometimes.
Okay, no. Here's my issue with that. My issue with that, and it's the same with Power Rangers, is that you have these
Well-
creatures who have claws and
Yes.
fangs and like spikes, and then they do karate. They're doing martial arts with these other people. I'm like, how did that bug learn to do karate? Why are they
it's
kicking
the
and punching?
supercells, man.
I guess. but-
Except, and then always the last second, once they need the kill, it's like Pacific Rim when, finally the kaiju has taken the Jaeger up into space and
Wow.
he pulls out
Really?
the I'm going there.
How many levels of geek can we
Guys,
go in one show?
I'm searching. And then he pulls out the sword and you're like, you had a sword the whole time.
Well, because and the whole time during the battle, the mortals, because there are humans who are they call them the extermination team, and in Amazon Riders,
Yeah.
these mortals go out and they get the notification, hey, we got an ID on a bug, it's a class B, and then they go out there and they shoot them with these.
By the way, do they ever do anything? Because it feels like they're really bad at their
That's what
job.
I'm saying. So
They
they
get
sit there
eaten sometimes.
They always have to rely on the
they
other
shoot them.
Amazons.
No, that's the
right?
thing is they shoot them with these pointless electric guns for like 5 minutes. And
They're
then
distractions.
And then they'll say, Mamoru, go in there, and which is Mamoru is one of their team that can turn into an Amazon.
Amazon.
Then he looks
He's a good
He
Amazon.
looks like one of the Dr. Robotnik robots.
Yes.
But then
Yes.
he comes in and then he'll kill it. And I'm like, why didn't you start with Mamoru?
Because if you remember with the Amazons, they're protein based. So if they use all their energy, like with Mamoru, he only has so much energy for so long.
Literally, when you say
Yeah.
protein based, they have to eat
Eat
meat
meat.
in order to get their power.
Yes.
Is that only in Amazon Riders?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Like,
I mean, it's a weird thing because it's like everyone's in the middle of fighting. It's like I really need to eat an egg.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, so it's because they use their energy so much so quickly especially when they're in their
so they're
suits.
weak.
Spoiler alert. I saw a main character get impaled. And honestly,
Yeah.
at the end of an episode in what we watched, and I went, oh, did I just gasp at Amazon Writers? And I was like, yeah, show, you got me in. And then I'm like, well, he's dead. But if you feed them meat and they're not quite dead, they can get healed quickly.
Yes, so that's their source of their energy.
This dude is
So we'll
chugging
go to
eggs.
R&R Barbecue.
Yeah. This dude is
Not a
literally like
sponsor.
chugging eggs for most of the show. He's like drinking
Jin?
raw eggs
Yeah.
constantly. And I was like,
He's a
why
cool
is he
character,
doing
by the way.
that?
Yeah, it
And
turns
the
my
other guy's-
stomach every time.
I
I'm
know.
like, bacteria, man, bacteria, don't do it.
Salmonella. But then the other guy, he just eats hamburgers all the time. Which,
Yes.
okay, so I'm getting so
There's
into the
so
weeds
many
here.
things.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions still
I'm
too.
getting so in the weeds here. So we talked about Mamoru, the member of their team who could turn into an Amazon and fight against the bad guys. And so you're saying that they're not trying to kill them; they're just trying to weaken them enough. Then they bring in the big gun to kind of.
They're
finish
doing it for
off.
money.
Yeah, so
Well, I just mean that they're not going to kill them because
Yeah.
they shoot them
Yeah.
with these pointless electric guns.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
so they're trying to weaken him, and then Mamoru is the final killer.
You know, I'm glad you said that. Actually, that makes me feel a little better
Yeah,
about that because
so-
it's like they kind of just wear him out.
Yeah, so
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because that is what happens.
Yeah.
it's what happens to me too.
So I mean,
We
because,
wear them out and then we bring in Kent to finish them off.
and of course, poor Mamoru, he loses because when he transforms, he loses his clothes.
He does.
Every
Yeah,
time.
every time he rips off his clothes, steam will shoot up all around him, and then he's a Dr. Robotnik.
The transformation's always funny because there's always this really, really dark scene where they're like, oh, here's this whole apartment complex full of people and everyone looks really miserable. And you're like, I hope they're not going to turn into something evil that will eat me. And then all of a sudden it goes, and you see all the smoke and then they turn into a plastic monster.
Yes.
And then you kind of
Wearing
lose the
garbage
fear.
bags. Wearing garbage bags.
Wearing garbage bags.
There was a bat monster, and he came down and he was wearing garbage bag wings, and I went, oh no.
But
Hey, he rips those wings off, too.
But there's still charm to it, though, somehow.
The thing is, it's kind of like I said. Let's go back to Doctor Who.
Yes.
The first time you saw the Daleks,
Yes.
you're just like, how can anyone?
That's true.
How can anyone be scared?
Slitheen.
Yeah. Or
Wow.
Or let's
Come
talk.
on, man.
Or let's talk about the snowman. You're just like, it's a freaking snowman.
Right.
The first
You know?
episode of Doctor Who, the reboot, it's like killer mannequins.
Yes.
And you're watching it going, what is
Yeah,
this?
but you know what? You just turn off your brain and you go with the flow, and you're just like, oh my gosh, if this was real, you know.
But you want to know how I could tell that I was getting into the show a little bit?
Huh.
It was when I suddenly started feeling bad for Mamoru because I'm like,
I know
they're not.
Mamoru's the best.
He's a simpleton, and they're taking advantage of him. They're paying him in
Exactly.
coins, and they're getting money. They're paying him in coins and hamburgers, and then they make him do all the big work. And
Hey,
I'm like,
Joel.
what the heck?
Joel, villain in season 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you just give it away.
Yeah.
Mamoru?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Does he like do his brain cells like rub together and multiply? or something?
Can I spoil
Yeah,
Amazon
go for
Riders
it.
for
Yeah,
some
yeah, yeah. I
people?
want to hear what happens next.
He full on eats a team member. Like he doesn't eat them all, but he's eating like.
He did that in season 1.
Yeah, that happened in season 1.
in season 1, and then he.
If you
left
recall
the
that
team.
horrible line.
Okay.
And he tasted good.
Joel, hold on. Will you paint the picture, please?
I don't want to. It's so
Joel,
awkward.
Go on, please.
Let's hear it.
But they're fighting.
Amazon.
They're when they become an Amazon, when a human becomes an Amazon, they lose a part of their self, and as they get more angry and more hungry, they start losing more and
Their
more of their
id
self.
takes over.
Right.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Mamoru in Dr. Robotnik robot form, it's this big pointy nose, like picture like a
rhino horn.
He's a mole.
Man,
Okay.
anyone
Yeah.
that's not a super geek is going to have no idea what's happening in this conversation.
They just need to go and watch the first.
You're
few-
going to have to. No, seriously,
He's
listener.
got a big
if you're like,
pointy
I don't,
nose.
should I keep listening to this? If that's the question you're asking yourself, go watch a little bit. And then
metal
come back and
gray
laugh with
face,
us.
no
Yeah,
eyes,
and laugh
big
with us.
pointy
Yeah,
nose.
exactly.
Anyway, but he starts losing himself, and he ends up attacking a team member and starts eating them, like eating their stomach.
Happens
And by
sometimes.
eating them, I mean his nose is like opens up, and he's like nuzzling into him, and there's blood flying everywhere. But he has no mouth, I guess. But then the guy, I don't want to say it. Can
Say it.
Then the subtitles
Oh,
say
gosh.
they just say, "I don't mind being eaten." As long as it's by you, and I went, "What the heck am I watching?"
Because it's meant to be. It's meant to be touching.
I don't care if it's my best friend. If they start chomping on me, I am killing them.
Hold on. Let me see your finger boop real quick.
No, I'm gonna eat my finger. And that was the other thing. Is like literally, there's another part where Mamoru rips off a dude's arm,
Yes.
one team member's arm,
It's pretty graphic.
and the other team member goes to shoot him, and the guy with a missing arm swats the gun out of his hand. He's like, "No, he's my friend," and I'm like, "He just ripped
Like, he went
off
dark.
your arm."
Yes. But they know that Mamoru has a good side to him too.
But
Not the mouth side.
Listen, Mamoru, it's okay to eat people. Okay, that's the message
that's
here.
what they say. And there's the whole thing at the end where like they have this conversation of like, it's okay to be a cannibal. And I'm like, is that the moral we're going for here?
I don't think there is a moral. It's just different perspectives, is what this show.
There's no perspective. Cannibalism is wrong.
If you think about it, there is actually no heroes in Amazon.
Yeah.
No, there's not.
Yeah,
I guess
okay.
it
What is that? It seems like when the show started out, and obviously people change, like societies change, and it seems like in the 70s through the 80s there was one hero versus one bad guy, and now all of a sudden everyone's really gray.
Well, see, with Amazons, because they always talk about there's one wild and one mild, and you always think that Jin is the wild
Right,
one.
in this current
red
series
one.
we
watched,
The red
yes.
one. And Haruka, the one in the green, he's more mild one. But if you think about it, if you look at Haruka's very first fight, he goes ballistic.
Yeah.
That's when
He's, like, reveling in death.
Yeah, I mean, he's
You
ripping
see
people's
inside
arms
his
up.
mind, and there's always the
Yeah.
green monster trying to get out of the cage. Like it's his psyche.
Yeah, and so when he gets out, so Jin is actually the mild one. But of course, when you find out about his story, basically it's all of his fault.
Right.
So he knows how to control it.
Yeah. Anyway, we're getting to the weeds. Let's pull it back. Let's pull it back. Let's
Is there
pull
a
it
way to
back.
not be in the weeds?
I just mean let's go back to the general Kamen Rider.
We
overall.
talked a lot about, just
Yeah,
like
just
what
Amazon.
happens in these weird shows, but like for everyone out there, like, can you give us a good place to start? Like, you've given us a solid place to start, and it's interesting. But like, as far as like history of the show, are there main episodes? Is it from the very beginning?
So if you want some, Amazon Riders is the easiest one to find.
Yes.
It's on Amazon Prime.
But yeah, you could start with any other series and you just start at the beginning, like with O's, like I said, or with Gaim, or with Kuga. Kuga was the very first one of the Heisei era. It started in 2000. Now you got
Kugas.
you got to be a little forgiving with the earlier episodes because the special effects aren't that great. But I mean,
They're not that great in 2018. But
I like the last season was Build. And I actually love Build because...
Can you give us the concept of that?
Basically, it's a physicist that's going against a corporation that is trying to destroy people. Basically, it's typical...
it's very similar.
Is it always a different corporation, or is
not necessarily. It could be different aliens. It could be just a group.
But can you
villains.
jump into any season of Kamen Rider and get a complete story? Meaning you don't have to have any backstory. You don't have to
Yes,
know
you
what
can.
happens later on.
Yep.
Do they all tie up at the end?
They do. So it's like I said, they do the overarching story. So they start out at the beginning. Like I said, most of them start off so cheesy, but they end awesomely. And so yeah, if you start to the beginning, and this is what's amazing. These actors start from 1 year and go to the other year. So you're talking 1 year, you're going to get 45, 46, 50 episodes. They have like 2
Wow.
weeks off.
Jeez.
They're on the set 16 hours a day.
Jiminy
yeah.
Christmas.
So they're like Japanese pop stars then.
Yes, they are. Well, that's the thing.
Yeah, I
So
want to know how popular they are over there.
that's what's amazing. This thing is so popular over in Japan, but it hasn't come over here yet.
Right.
So these actors, like the last 4 or 5 main writers, they won the Ju-on Boy contest against.
Jew on the Grudge?
Yeah. Ju-on means the grudge. I know that.
Yeah. So they're going against this contest to be the Boy of the Year.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
There's a Boy of the Year?
Yes. It's a
Is
magazine.
there a Girl of the Year?
I'm not sure.
And is this like Ju-on magazine, like Tiger Beat?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
There's a Boy of the Year.
Amazon.
And is it based on is it all pop culture,
It's
like
about
movies, TV, music?
Yeah, it's about everything you could do. So like they had to go with music. They had to be able to do martial arts. They have to be able to act and sing. So all these
Wow.
I mean these
Like quadruple threat, basically.
Yes, they had to have a modeling contract, and so the last.
So they had to be the actors have to be pretty boys.
It's
on this
it's
show.
basically
Basically.
Kent's life.
I thought
It sounds like it's a boy band.
I
but
thought
for
one
a
of the
TV
male
show.
actors
and a lot of them
was
do
a
start
female.
off. Yeah, a lot of them are
Yeah.
in boy bands.
No, one of my favorite moments is when. Can I tell this?
Oh, absolutely.
Because he said one of the things that I thought was weird was they didn't wrap up this storyline where the 2 girls were stuck in the basement on fire, and I went, Kent, that was Mamoru. That was the Amazon guy.
It was Mamoru and this other girl.
Mamoru and this other girl,
And there was a fire, and I was like, where are you going to wrap that story up? And granted,
that's true.
they
What
did wrap
did
it up
No,
poorly,
they
but it wasn't 2 girls.
Pop out of the ground in the next episode.
Mamoru.
It was Mamoru. It was the skinny guy. I thought he was a girl.
He's
But
really
they all,
skinny.
I mean, all the people in this series are all like cool looking. They got the cool hair,
Yeah.
and
Jin's
like,
cool looking.
They all kind of have
He's
that look,
actually
though.
a model too. So.
Of course he is.
And Fuku.
Well, he's just posing
who's
relentlessly.
Excuse me, family friendly.
Fuku is one of he's my favorite character in Amazon. He's the one that has like the chin that could cut paper.
He's like he looks like the tech guy. He's like the
Yes,
Donatello of the group.
He's like a third degree black belt, and so
So you
but we
said
don't see him fight in the show. He just
I know.
shoots. I mean,
well, it's cool to be the sniper, though, right?
Yeah.
So you're saying they've become so famous, these actors, that they have beat out everyone in Japanese media for the past couple of years.
So with the Ju-on Boy contest, they're going against like 20,000 other boys.
Wow.
And a lot of like the last 4 or 5 writers, they become like the main writer or the secondary writer.
Right.
And that starts off their career. And so they go and they work their butt off for the 50 episodes.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, they have to do stage shows. They have to do meet and greets. They have to do photo books. They have to do
so
albums.
they control. This is like a Marvel contract.
Yes.
Oh,
And
jeez.
so they actually they have to sing their own songs because with the later episodes, each one of them has their own song that they sing, and they put out albums, and they've put out,
Of course they do.
Yeah. And so it's just like, this is how they kickstart their
Hold on.
Amazon.
How many of these albums do you have?
Oh,
Nicole, be honest.
The thing is, they just barely dropped on iTunes.
Like our iTunes or
yes,
like
our iTunes, like last month, and there's probably a good 50 out there.
how are the songs?
They're not bad.
Wait, she's got to answer. How many do you have?
I have like 20.
Wait, 20 albums or 20 singles based on what
20
these guys?
albums.
Okay.
And do you speak Japanese?
No, I wish. I'm such an idiot.
You are not. No, I listen to foreign language songs all the time, having no idea what to
Yeah,
say.
I listen to French rap. I don't know why.
What?
Yeah, I do.
I have them on.
Oh,
here.
you didn't know that? No. Save it for our foreign rap show.
Yeah. So I mean,
If that happens, I'm out.
And these songs,
Oh, that's it?
these songs will go to like number one. The albums they'll go on tour. They'll start where they'll be. Some of them will come into boy bands.
There are so many fandoms in Japan. I don't know how they all coexist at the same time.
Yeah, and how do they coexist? Because it seems like these guys would be famous for the 2 years the show is on, and then other people get distracted.
All 2 seasons or
No,
a year?
They just have the year, but then they go on to stage shows. They
Well,
have to
what I
have
mean is
stage shows.
like you said, it's been going on since '71. How many seasons are there?
There is 36 seasons.
Well,
Wow.
when I say seasons, that's confusing too because Amazon Riders was 2 seasons.
Yes.
So then, what do you call each section?
So it's 36 series. So
Okay.
each one of us is named after the main writer. So you got Kuga. He's the first one.
Okay.
You got Agito. He's the second one. You got Ryuki, which
Now,
is the third one.
You
That's for the
bring.
Hazer.
You did bring. I'd like to bring this
brought-
up now. She brought some, in addition to some gifts. Thank you for those. You brought a whole packet of information. that
I mean,
I'm
I feel
looking
like we're
at
playing
right now.
Dungeons and Dragons again, to be honest with you.
This is more than we had for Dungeons
This
and Dragons.
is beyond Joel levels because there's a huge like packet of text here, but then there's like spreadsheets and they're color coded, including Kamen Rider episodes and movies. Here's the writer and like the writer name, the character name, the motif, the bike, the belt, the actor. Like it's insane. Like it's a good insane, but it's.
I wanted to be prepared.
This is definitely preparation. But I was looking.
is.
I was
But
looking over
you're talking 50 years, and like the very first season, from
50 years, 25 writers.
Yeah, so the first year, 1971, Kamen Rider had 98 episodes.
Okay.
So
Wow.
yeah.
Whoa.
The shortest series is Amazon's that you just watched.
Oh, because it's 26 episodes
Yeah.
and that's it. Okay.
Amazon.
And I was telling Ken, like with Amazon's, here's a little secret. If you go through each episode, the first one starts off with Amazon.
yeah.
The second one starts with B, and I forgot what it was now.
Beast
I noticed that.
Amazon's
Yeah.
Beast Inside, Colony
There you
of
go.
Ants.
Yeah,
It's- The first season is literally A through
D.
M, and then the second season is N through Amazon's.
Yeah,
At
and
the
then
end.
they got the movie. So I mean, they've got like little like funny things for.
But so you're saying that 70 years, 30, you said 36 series?
6 series. I
25
believe.
writers. So that means there's writers that go multiple series.
No, so there is 36 different seasons.
Okay.
And there's usually multiple writers in each season, but they each have they each are called by the main writer's name.
Oh, okay. So that doesn't count secondary writers in that. Okay.
Nicole, I have a controversial question.
What?
Have they ever had an American writer?
Well, they
Like a blonde white guy? I'm not saying blonde white guys need more jobs.
Kent, stop trying to whitewash Kamen Riders.
Yeah, I can't.
But I'm saying it's 2019. What about the inclusiveness?
Diversity in Japan.
Right, exactly.
they do have some Americans in there. They're usually the bad guys.
Okay, well, that
So,
makes
like,
sense,
in Kamen
right?
Rider Ghost, the one guy, he's sorry to say, he ends up being the villain. His name is. Oh my god!
It's like Jet or something.
No, it's Steve Bills because it's a mixture of Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. Steve Bills.
Oh, wow. It's so good.
Bills, that's
Now,
funny.
have you seen every series of Kamen
I have
Rider?
seen the majority of them. I just barely got some of the older seasons.
Where do you find
Download.
these? I see.
Yeah.
Do you sail the high seas? Is that what it is?
Yes.
No, she just goes to Japan and watches them there
You
legally.
can actually. There's a lot of fan subs out there. I find a lot of them on what's called TV Nihon. So it's TV Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Or there's another site that's called Nya. That's how they say meow.
What are you watching? Yeah.
Nya.
Cat.
Anything good? Yeah.
Nyan Cat. I love Nyan
yeah.
Cat.
So like I just barely found Skyrider. It's one of the older ones. You could find all
My
the
favorite Rider Lagoon.
I think he has the best. I think
I used to
his-
flirt with girls in
Lagoon.
Skyrider.
If I remember he has the best name.
Wild
for,
Mouse.
Oh no, ZX has the best name for his bike. It's called the Helldiver.
Speaking of names, are there any weird villains or creatures in this show?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah,
there's-
go on.
Okay, so let's see.
You mean by name? Because there are some weird creatures
Yes.
just looking.
By design, yeah, do some Google image.
I showed Kent.
That is totally worth a Google search.
It is.
Yeah. And there's some repetition too. It's like, oh, they're fighting a lobster guy.
Yep.
And then I'm like, I thought they were
The
bugs.
chef turns into a lobster.
The chef turns into a lobster, and then he shows up again later, or
Yeah.
the lobster does.
So they'll use a lot of animal motifs or bug motifs.
There's a big old dude. There's a big dude who ends up dying, but then he kind of turns into a butterfly later
Yeah.
on. It was a caterpillar before, and then it was a
Yep.
butterfly. And I'm like,
So
okay.
like there's some crazy names. There's the dough pants. There's
Dough
Well,
pants?
It's called dough pants.
But is it actually dough
Why?
pants?
But how did they
Still
get
pots.
Kent's nickname in the show?
Yeah,
It's called
that is a good
Dopants.
question.
And I
He just went to his 20-year union and they all called him Dough
I said
Pants
it the
again.
horrible American way on purpose.
I don't even have a follow up for that.
So they
What's
have-
up, Dough Pants?
That's from Double, which is actually one of the best seasons, I think. They have the Roid Mudes, which is from
Roid mutes?
Roid Mudes.
Oh, mutes. Okay.
Yeah.
What are mudes?
Roid Mudes. They're just these creatures that.
But they're all bulked up. Is
Yeah.
that what it is? Okay. Right.
And then they have like the Greeds who try to get everything that they try to consume.
Now that sounds like Power
Yeah.
Rangers. To me,
Yes.
like the Greeds.
The Greeds. And then I'm trying to think of what.
Isn't there one? His name is Starfish-Hitler.
Wait,
Starfish-Hitler.
I was saying,
Wow.
This is the best. This is at a time.
That's both on the nose and out there at the same time.
This is at a time where political correctness was not in existence in the
Sure.
70s.
Starfish-Hitler.
So, well, the thing is, so
Band name, pet
No,
name.
no.
Pet name?
Not
Joel
touching
will
it.
not even go there.
the really people, you need to look up Starfish-Hitler. It's exactly what you think.
Don't look it up on your work computer.
I'm looking it up right now.
They can see your search history.
So that comes from Kamen Rider X, and they're going up against.
And this was probably 80s, right?
It is actually the
Starfish-Hitler was in the 80s?
It was. Let's see. X was 1974.
1974. Okay.
So, and they're going up.
This suit is amazing.
Can you describe it for us, Jake?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, now I got to look it up. Starfish-Hitler. I'm
Okay.
looking at it.
Describe it.
We should just stop the show and stare at this together.
I will not stare at Starfish-Hitler.
It's worth it, man.
That's the
It
name of the
is
show.
worth it.
So,
Joel, am I right or am I right?
oh my gosh. It's like
It's amazing.
It's like a paper mache.
It's a freaking masterpiece.
It's a paper mache Hitler head.
I got it now.
It's a paper mache Hitler head with like a lobster shawl.
Yeah.
Like he's literally wearing the
Oh,
hat. It's
wow.
Hitler.
and it's like it looks like a
He's got a
statue face, like paper mache
yeah, it's
statue
like a black
face
and white
of
face
Hitler.
with like a red
Listen,
shawl.
if this guy had shown up in Amazon Writers, it would have increased it like a full letter grade.
His chest, like his shirt, his coat is open, and there's literally a swastika where like a Superman S would be.
Yeah.
Except this is not a time where political correct. So Starfish-Hitler is he's one of the creatures that comes across the.
Oh, this show has become this now.
I want to bring this guy over for dinner.
It's also okay. So he's part of the corporation. The bad corporation is God.
Oh, he's a bad guy?
Wait.
So they're going against.
He works for the Shocker
I wasn't
organization.
sure by the name.
So they go up against. He's with the corporation called God. So
Hold on.
Is that an acronym?
yes.
Okay.
It's government of destruction.
Oh, okay.
I asked if there's any like social or subtext going on. Like, what's going on here, Nicole?
Wait, are they saying God is evil? What is going on here?
It's for the whole shock versions. It makes you want to watch. You're like, why is there
I-
Starfish-Hitler? And why is the God bad? It makes you want to watch, doesn't
It's
it?
very intriguing.
So God is government of destruction
In the show.
in the show.
Good clarification.
Covering
there.
bases. Don't want the bacon cave to get struck
And
by
that's,
lightning.
again, from 1974. That's from Kamen Rider X.
Oh, so that's really old then.
That is. That's
Okay.
like I said, political correctness was... And of course, you got the Shockers who actually do a Sig Heil.
Whoa.
So-
Do you know what's
Really?
Yeah,
You know
they're
what I just realized?
Wow.
that the Kamen Rider X was probably closer to World War II than we are to Kamen Rider X right now.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is weird.
I feel old.
Yeah.
Math. Thanks, Joel. Thanks a lot. Way to bring us down with math.
Starfish-Hitler made me do math.
So-
Nicole, can I ask you a question?
Sure, you can ask me anything.
So,
That's what I'm here for.
here-
So many sound bites.
I want to give you the part that disconnected for me. I want to see if you can help me resolve
Okay.
it. Okay. So for me, they had there was a cool special effect when they would transform, right? Is that the right word for this? Okay.
Yeah, henshin.
And so they would twist their little motorcycle belt and
Just the one side. The other side was a weapon.
and oh yeah, that's right. So they twist that, and there would be like this big explosion. People would
Amazon.
catch on fire, and they'd be like Amazon, and then boom, and then suddenly they are in a suit, but they don't seem. If it's like, okay, wow, big build up here. And then they kind of just flail their arms around and hit each other sometimes.
Right.
And sometimes they're like stabbed through, but like most of the time it just felt like, I don't know, it was like,
Well,
I wish it hadn't been so big.
Occasionally,
because then it wouldn't be a difficult suspension of disbelief. Yeah.
And occasionally they'll twist the motorcycle handle in their belt a second time, and it will say like, death punch.
Like violent whip.
Yeah.
So they actually have like the leveling up. So
Right.
when you said level up on the email, I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. So they level up. They could, but again,
But why not lead with that? Why not just end the fight soon?
Because it takes more energy with the Amazons.
Right, but I'm saying you use it and then the fight's over.
Joel, let's be honest. You got to pad the time for a TV episode.
It's
I mean, which
half
makes
hour.
perfect sense.
Right.
But it feels like they're so powered. Like sometimes they show up and they're like, oh wow, they're super overpowered. And then other times they turn it on and then they fight with like the monster of the week for like 20 minutes.
And then
Yes.
sometimes I like to say, well, maybe they haven't learned that skill yet, or
I'm
Because
just saying, I'll lead with death punch every time.
yeah,
Vicious strike.
but then that's boring for the viewer,
Yeah.
right?
I'm trying to save my own life.
Yeah, that's true. I
don't care about
when
the
you
viewer.
transform into a bug suit.
Yes.
Yes.
violent punish. No, but like with other series, they do a lot more special effects. Like with X8, it's all video game related. So you'll see like someone powering up, and it'll be like a video game, like continue. And
So can I ask a question and let me know if this is a plot hole? Because when the heroes decide to become to transform into suits, they can also transform back into humans. They're just fine. They can live normal lives, but sometimes most of the time.
Well,
and I haven't seen the other series.
Armbands.
Yes, but
that's the
then
protein.
But then the bad guys, or like a normal person on the street that turns into a bug, for example, can they ever turn back, or are they just cursed to be a
Well, that's
bug?
the-
No, they turned back. I saw them like they would remember the lady in the apartment that kept calling people for service?
That's true. Okay.
Yeah.
the queen.
And so can they? 'Cause
Yeah.
it seems like their lives are over and they just have to die at that point.
Well, see, that's the whole point. They're trying to find the cure for it. And then Jin is also saying in Amazons, Jin is like, I will destroy all Amazons, including myself.
Yeah.
Remember? So he's trying to act like the hero, even though he's the whole reason for this.
Yeah, I kind of saw Jen's point, though. Honestly,
Yeah.
like when the one guy was like, so there's these humans who don't want to change, and so they eat human flesh
Yep.
in order to stay normal. It's kind of like an iZombie thing.
It is.
Never level geekdom, where they
CW reference.
yeah, but they bring people in there, and I couldn't tell if they were volunteers or not.
No.
But they cook them up and then they eat them. And then the one guy was like, "Oh, it's okay."
Yeah, I couldn't understand his
trying
defense
not,
there.
They're trying not to turn to monsters. I'm like, they're
by eating people?
yeah.
Like,
They're just not using karate.
I know, right? Like that's really the big
Well, if
difference.
you think about it, they're thinking they're innocent because they don't know the victims. They've never seen the victims.
And they're avoiding their carnal selves.
Yes, so-
yeah, it's
So
like
they're-
they're using like a
they're-
fork and a knife, and therefore
so they're thinking,
not so guilty.
I'm not the one that's feeling guilty because I'm not the one that killed this person.
Yeah.
Someone else
But I'm
did it
totally
for-
I'm totally on Jin's side here. It's
still-
just like
I still
I
can't
know,
get
I
rid of
like
them.
Jin. Jin's my favorite.
Just
Whereas,
cool.
the spoiler alert, at the end of the season, like Amazons are awakened. Like it's now society at large.
Yep.
yeah.
And so, yeah, it's I don't know. It's interesting how how
It's a very
Amazon Rider
Walking
starts and
Dead
ends.
kind of a scenario.
Yeah.
So it starts off with only a few people that have it, but then it
And
spreads.
there's
and like Walking
4,000
Dead,
infected.
it's not just the zombies that are the bad guys. People are bad guys as
oh
well.
yeah, for sure.
Which is probably
sure.
one of the better arcs.
Oh, okay, Nicole.
We've awakened Joel.
No, this part literally ticked me off
Here we
in
go.
this series. So
Like,
there's-
what made you mad at the show or the
yes,
characters?
I was involved. I was emotionally involved with the show because I got angry because
Clearly.
what happened
But
was.
see, I like hearing that you were emotionally involved with it.
But here's the problem. So the point of this one is they think this guy is a bug because this dead person appeared in his junkyard. And so they go and investigate him.
Context.
Yes. They found a dead body and they found a dead body in the junkyard.
If you're still listening, then yeah, context.
Like I said, I'm so
Okay,
sorry.
but just hear me.
I've ruined
So
all
they-
the listenership for you.
They find this
This is
dead
good.
body in a junkyard, so they think a bug is there. They go there and find out, no, it's not a bug. The dude's just a creepy murderer. And he's killing people. And he framed this other guy who was
Yeah.
a bug, an Amazon.
Yeah.
Then they're fighting this guy for a while. And
Yeah, you going to defend your Jin guy now?
Well, they knock him down, and they're going to kill him, and they're going to have Mamoru go kill him. And he's like, you can't kill him. He's a human, because they didn't want the Amazon to kill a human, because that's the line they don't want to cross. But then they just walk away. They don't call the
police.
cops.
I mean, lock him
They could have
up.
killed him. They could have beat him senseless. They could have called the cops. Instead, they just walk away.
Straight up murderer.
And one dude's missing an arm, I'm sure.
But the thing is, with the team, they don't want to call the cops because they could be accused of the same thing.
Anonymous tip. I'm sure that's a thing in Japan.
Can they just shatter both of his legs?
I was so bugged at that.
Tie him up.
I kept being
Anonymous
like,
tip.
call the cops.
Yeah, it bugs me when they walked away.
That derailed the show for like 2 or 3 episodes, honestly, where I was like, I kept being
But it
like,
was nice
he's
to
still
see
out there.
that it wasn't some cheesy monster eating people,
But that's
that it
what I
was
mean,
an
like,
actual person
that twist,
causing
I
harm.
enjoyed. That twist I enjoyed
Right.
because it was like, oh, he's just a bad guy, and he like captures these people and starts beating them up. But then they just let him go.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I get it. I guess they're mercs, and it's like, no, we only kill for money, and this guy doesn't qualify.
Right.
And that's our line.
But he's
right?
going to kill someone else.
I know, yeah. Honestly, though, that's part of the ways that the show has. It's angular, right? Like it has some interesting, arguments.
Okay, so let's talk about like the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
So you'll see when someone's fighting, you will have, like I said before, you have a different suit actor and an actor that you'll see, but
Every time?
yes,
But I thought one of the qualifications was they had
Yeah,
to be able to fight.
they do because they have to be able to fight out of the suit.
Oh.
But
so
the-
do you have a stunt man because it does get
so
dangerous?
basically the stunt man is going to be in the suit.
It's
'cause
really
gonna
hot in those rubber suits.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's actually, what was it, last season or the season before, someone actually died doing a stunt. So
What?
he broke his neck, and he was doing a rider kick coming down.
Well, there's a lot of stunts. I mean, they're on
there's a
ropes
lo-
constantly.
Wow.
I mean, so Seiji Takanawa, I think I said his name right. He's been the same main suit for out of the Heisei areas, 18 out of the 20.
Oh, wow.
And
So it's the same dude in the suit every time,
yeah,
just different
as
actor.
the
Wait,
main,
is he bigger than the show itself? Like, is
Yes,
he
That's
one of
what
the
I was
biggest
saying.
celebrities?
Everyone calls him Mr. Kamen Rider. And the thing is, if you watch him, you're like, oh, this is awesome. He's 50 years old. He turned 50 last
What?
year.
That guy's in
Wait,
good shape.
is this dude in Amazon Writers?
No, he's not in Amazon Riders, but
Oh,
he's in
I was gonna say that.
from Heisei eras. He's
Okay.
in
Oh,
every
okay,
he's
yeah.
in every main suit except for Kuga and Hibiki.
But
Okay.
that's the problem. Does the face get all the fame, and then the stunt
No,
actor not get?
the people do know some of the stunt suits.
Okay.
So, but the thing is, with again, they're having to do another talent. All the people that are out of the suits, they actually had to do voice acting because you'll hear their voices. When the suits,
They
Right,
shake their
right.
head.
yes,
when
so
they're
they
talking,
actually have to do
'Cause their
voice
mouths aren't
acting
moving.
too.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. But in Gaim, my favorite.
What's up?
They actually had the very first suit rider and out of suit rider to happen once again out of 40 years. And it was actually a woman. And so
Okay.
and she is amazing. You're just like, wow. But before she got her role, she did a lot of suit acting from the previous ones, and so they decided to give her a role.
There has been a female writer then?
Well, there's been a few.
There's been a
Yeah.
few, but she was the primary protagonist. Is that what the
Yeah.
change was?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, she was awesome.
Nicole,
Yes.
I have to ask the question.
Go for it.
So
Okay, he has to ask the question before he asks the question.
That's what I'm here for.
this show is so popular over there, right?
Exactly.
It makes a lot of money, I'm
Yes,
guessing.
it does.
Are they going to ever put that money back into the show? Like, are they ever going to make the suits a little cooler?
No, I
a little
think-
better CG, for example?
Well, you got to, if you watch the later shows,
Yeah.
like with Build, like with X8, I think you would really like X8. It's all about retro gaming doctors.
Okay, I'm into that, yeah.
So because the Bucksters come from to life from the
'Cause-
video games, and they infect people, and so they have to have the gaming doctors.
That was my disconnect. It seems like a real Japanese drama
Mm-hmm.
with decent actors, and then all of a sudden they get into suits, and then I was like, well, then your budget fell apart.
Yeah, and then it's like they're definitely in plastic suits, and the suspension of disbelief kind of drops.
They're going to keep the suits because
that's the look.
just how tokusatsu is.
You look at era of Marvel where like
Or even like the TV shows that we have.
well, I just mean like the fact that you look at Iron Man's suit, and obviously it's all CGI. You look at those behind the scenes photos, and they're like wearing those weird black leotards. But I think about that, how that kind of suit could still look good on this show. It still
could.
fits that show, but it might give it a little more weight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think they'll just stick. I think because that's just the
That's the
nature
look.
of the show is
Yeah.
the costume creatures.
Like
but,
if it ain't broke, don't
yeah,
fix it.
But all the suits are real. I mean,
Right,
all the
that's
main
true.
suits.
Which is
And-
cool. Practical effects are
yeah.
awesome.
And if you're talking about wanting to see them have a mouth move, in Agito, they actually had a suit that had a mouth move. His name was Gills. He's my favorite in that episode. But because of the use of the mouth, it got destroyed. And so that's why they don't use like the mechanical
Makes
mouths
sense.
anymore.
I mean, yeah.
So, so it got
It's a liability.
destroyed. Yeah.
So how does this show affect Japan's culture? Like, because obviously we started the show because we love pop culture. How do people over in Japan?
Oh,
Because
sorry.
it hasn't
Can I
reached
add
here
on
yet.
to this question too?
Yes.
If I were just to ask someone from Japan and say, "Oh, do you know Kamen Riders?" Is it like do you think it would be an automatic like, "Oh yeah, sure"?
Most people know, especially like I said, after the tsunami hit, after the meltdown, they actually had posters and murals of Kamen Riders helping people. You know, and it was a big, huge thing with the Kamen Riders and the Super Sentai over there.
Could you equate it to a popularity level here in the States?
Oh, I'd say, yeah. Well, I would say it's probably onto like a comic book.
Like, for example, like
Marvel.
Halloween here, kids will be Batman, Captain America, you name
Oh,
it,
yeah.
right? And over there, our kids have like costumes and toys and posters,
Oh, yeah.
right?
And cosplay is huge with Kamen Rider fans over there. And of course, being Japanese, they use every single detail, and it's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
big.
I bet.
And like I was telling you earlier, they actually have a cafe in Tokyo called the Kamen Rider Cafe.
Is it just one?
Yeah, it's just the
Do
one
they
right
sell
now.
ramen at the Kamen?
Yes, they do. And so all the different dishes and drinks are made to look like, you know, the different Rider series, or like
What?
If you, yeah.
They have like,
Do they serve human flesh?
yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Oh, no.
I mean, it just
Don't
looks
order the
like it.
Amazon Rider.
They do have an Amazon Rider drink, but it's an alcoholic drink, so it's the adult drink.
Oh, yeah, it makes sense because the show's a little more adult.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, but like in Kamen Rider Ghost, in most of the series, there's going to have something to deal with food, and you're going to be hungry watching it. You're just like, oh, that looks really good. So like with Kamen Rider Ghost, the thing was that the one guy was obsessed with takoyaki, and so they'll have like
What is takoyaki?
it's a deep fried octopus.
Oh, I was going to tell you
Yeah.
said octopus.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it's really good.
You okay, Joel?
I was just looking up the drink
Yeah,
for
see?
the Kamen Rider.
Yeah.
Oh, it's cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
it looks
so-
like a
so
a
they-
grasshopper.
So they have like
Oh, nice.
different drinks, and they have non-alcoholic ones for the kids, and or like if you watch Deno, they have this whole thing with like whipped cream coffee.
Okay.
And you could get that there too.
So if you go to Japan, when you go to Japan,
I am going in 2 years.
Are you?
Yes.
Will you be going to the cafe?
Oh, we're gonna go there multiple times. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Because
Would you say this is your biggest
Yeah, that's a good question.
fandom?
it's one of them.
Because I know you're a huge
Right after
Transformers
Baconsale,
fan.
Yeah, I'm a big
Yeah, it's
Transformers
Bacon Sale, obviously, and then below
I
that,
would
maybe
say
Star Wars.
I would say Beatles because
Yeah,
Beatles
huge
Diva.
Beatles fan. Yes.
Bow
Yeah.
down before Beatles.
and
Diva.
I love Transformers. Dark Tower. We could talk about Dark
Yeah,
Tower.
Dark Tower,
Oh my gosh.
for sure.
Yeah, yeah, it's up there.
Now
It's
hold on,
probably-
hold on.
We went to the Dark Tower too, by the way.
No, I'm just saying, hold on here. We could have done a Stephen King show. We could have done a Transformers show. We could have done a Beatles show. Any of those shows.
Is there any more
And you
above
chose
Kamen
Kamen
Riders?
Rider.
Yeah, I'd say I could go on about Transformers. If you
We could have literally done a Beatles
I wanted
musical tribute.
I wanted to do something that people didn't know
She wanted to
about.
out-geek Kent.
And
Okay,
you've
I
done
will
it.
tell you, I wanted to do this for selfish reasons because I want more people to get into this so I could get cheaper merchandise.
Wait, hold on.
wait.
Do you have an affiliate deal?
How does that work? We're not that big,
No,
Nicole.
I'm just saying if more people get into it, I don't have to import my toys.
Oh, yeah. You're saying if there becomes like a kind of a fandom over here in America, they'll
Yes.
start shipping stuff.
Makes sense,
over.
makes sense.
So do you have,
Bacon Sale's about to
we've
change it all.
done these shows multiple
Go
times.
Bacon Sale.
Do you have a missionary pitch to people? Like, if someone is still listening and going, look, I enjoy you guys talking about this. It sounds kind of silly, but like, if you legitimately want people to get into it, like, why should they?
Yeah, I'd love to hear
Okay,
this.
well, with each season, there is a different story arc. There is something out there for everyone. Whether you're looking for something dark, like Amazon's, if you're just looking for something lighthearted, or if you want a murder mystery, they have that. They have one guy, or like the gaming one. There is a different storyline for
What if-
someone's interest out there. And it starts off, you think it's starting off like childish, but then something happens, like I said, usually around episode 8 or 9, and you're just like, you're invested. You're just like, whoa, what
It's
is
true. And
going
I will say,
on?
I will say this. So it's just 13 episodes, and it wasn't until about episode 10 that I started kind of being like, okay, that was interesting. Like something here was like kind of
And
pulled me in.
It usually takes about that long because, especially with the later shows, they do like all the merchandising.
But is this like a frog in boiling water thing where I just got used to it? Or
No.
did they actually wait that long to be like, here's something?
They usually wait that long because they need to get over the merchandising, the advertising, because they want you to get to know who these characters are, and then they'll develop the whole storyline from then on.
Okay.
So, like with Blade is in my top 5.
Yeah, he's a vampire hunter. Daywalker is what I like to call him.
So many levels of geekdom in one show. I'm actually floored by this.
The reboot's going to be great. You know? Yeah.
So Blade,
You like Marshali?
everyone says it is one of the slowest beginnings, but that ending will make even the stoniest critic cry. And I have a friend that, just like you, is just like, I can't believe that.
So it's all these different interests. But what if my interest is very large belts with motorcycle handles?
You've got one then.
So it really seems like if you're listening right now and you're like, I don't know where to start, there are 36 series. People can reach out to you
Yes, they
personally
can.
and ask,
That'd be
hey, look, I
awesome.
like this. Point me in the right
Yeah,
direction,
and
right?
I like I said, we could give you my little spreadsheet.
Oh, we're putting this up on Patreon
Yeah.
as well.
Yes,
This
Patreon.
whole-
Patreon's going to get some access to the documents that she brought.
So, I mean, like I said, they have gamers, they have physicists, they have an astronaut, a guy that's astronaut. They have, a hobo, a guy who's a hobo that
Hey, look,
Yeah.
a hobo eating someone, not that far out of the realm of possibility.
This isn't Florida, Kent.
Florida writers.
Sorry, Florida listeners.
yeah, they have a bunch of different cop shows.
Everglade!
Yeah,
That's going to happen now, next season.
yeah, they have different detectives, and yeah, like I said, the new era is starting in September 1st. So everyone can
No,
start.
they discontinued the new era.
Yeah,
Oh.
the Reiwa. So I mean, that's a good start for everyone to start on because it's going to be new for us. It's a whole new design. It's a whole new way of storytelling. So,
Are there seasons that you just hate?
Yeah, do you dislike any
Because for me,
era, any
remember-
series?
Huge fan of Doctor Who. There are seasons I don't want to watch.
there are some seasons I'm just like, but they have their good moments.
Do you like the earlier stuff as much as the
I
newer
do.
stuff?
The-
Because I know a lot of people, Doctor Who fans, for example, are fans of the reboot, not
Yeah,
the
New
original
Who.
series.
Let's see. The older stuff, again, it's a little more gritty. The special effects are,
Sure.
But the
I
monster.
don't see how they could get much lesser than they are now.
Amazon, like I said, you need to go watch a different series. Amazon's is like the black sheep.
I'm going to.
Because they're trying to homage the 1970s. That's the problem.
Okay.
So, but like with Ghost is not that great of a show, but it has its moments. And there's a character that I absolutely adore. And there is an episode that I literally welled up at. But it's not one of those ones I'm like, go for that. But again, this is a dividing fandom. Like I know I listened to another Kamen Rider podcast. That's one of their favorites. And I'm just like, really? Like with Kiva. Kiva's the one that's like the dividing of the fandom. I enjoy Kiva, but everyone's like, oh my gosh, it was so boring. It was more like a soap opera, a supernatural soap opera.
Okay.
It has the vampires, it has Frankenstein, it has Creature in it.
Okay.
And, but it's also
I'm intrigued
built,
by that.
It's also built around a love story, and people are like,
Yeah.
Did you love it right away when you started? Like it was an instant kind of fandom?
It was really weird. Like I said, the very first episode I watched was about a unicorn that was destroying people's dreams. It
happens every time unicorns in
I
my
was just
dream.
like, dang it, unicorns, because they're supposed to be, happy-go-lucky.
yeah.
Just like, it's destroying people's
It's like
dreams.
Cabin in the Woods all over
When
again.
you say unicorn,
I mean,
was this a guy in a suit with a
Yes.
horn on his head?
it was actually a really
Yes.
good, really crazy suit. Look up unicorn greed, G-R.
It's no Starfish-Hitler.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest.
Greed is
This is,
spelled with 3 E's
Oh, great.
Of course it is.
because it's greedy.
hey, like Starfish-Hitler, is there other costumes that are super famous? Like,
Oh my gosh.
It's actually
Yeah,
kind of a
see?
cool costume.
Wait,
That's what I'm
Unicorn
saying.
Yummy?
Unicorn Yummy? Is that it?
Yep, the yummies.
Looking this
Unicorn
up.
Yummy.
Yes.
I think we just got arrested.
My favorite is that one of my favorite costumes is actually from that series. Look up Mizul, Mezool.
Oh, it's a girl.
Yep.
So she's
a cool
got
costume, actually.
horns
Yeah.
and a cape and
Well, it's actually
She looks like Stitch, but in human form.
She's actually because all the greeds have different elements. She's the elements of water.
Okay.
So she has the orca for her helmet. She has the octopus.
that is an
cape.
orca. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
So she has the octopus
Look
cape,
at that.
and she has an eel going.
She's saying I love you, Gamel, and she's got an orca on her head.
Gamel is the rhinoceros. He's the bigger one. He's the rhinoceros elephant
The
combo.
what?
Yeah. So he
Rain elephant.
right elephant.
Wait, are we watching the Wuzzles all of a sudden? What's happening here? Another level of geekdom.
Yeah.
We have leveled up. Our XP just went through.
What have you done to the show?
Crashed and I apologize.
No, truthfully, like I'm happy that like yes, we could have done 4 or 5 shows that people would have actually known about. But what you've done is like seriously outclassed us in every way.
See, I wanted to do something geeky.
Well, and I love trying new things. Like okay, so for example, I watch a bunch of YouTube channels, and one of them they talk about like all these different fandoms from other places. I love finding out that stuff is like super big, like Baby Metal, for example.
Yes,
Baby Metal.
Baby Metal is a very, very popular band that merges like this heavy, heavy guitar with these cute little girls
J-pop.
singing. Yeah,
They're on tour with Rob Zombie.
yeah, and they're doing like these arena shows, and I'm like, this is huge, and I had no idea it existed. So
Yeah.
I love being able to find new things
Yeah,
like that.
this is really big. It's big.
Rhinoceros elephant big? Yeah. How big are we
Nothing's
talking?
that big.
So I'm a little mad at you because I'm a completionist, and so and I told these guys I'm
You
like,
have to go
"Look,
back to 1971, Ken.
and I will. I told these guys I'm like I finished season 1. You guys almost caught up,
I
and
have
they're
a
like,
2
yeah.
gig hard drive with them all if you need.
Oh my gosh! And I seriously was like, and,
She said that.
yeah, and I was like, I'm going to start episode 1 because I want to find out what happened after season 1, and it was way different. And the series
Jumps
actually
5
got,
years ahead.
Oh yeah, 5 years ahead. It
Wow,
got
really?
darker, way more bloody,
Oh yeah,
way more.
That first episode in Amazon season 2, I actually had to turn my head away at one point.
they eat an eyeball. Like you
Yes.
see a guy eat an eyeball.
Oh, it's not just it's his.
Why?
Okay,
Chopping the
big
eyeball.
spoiler.
Family
It-
friendly?
No, big
Yeah.
spoiler. It is his daughter's birthday party. He turns into Amazon and attacks her.
His own daughter?
His own daughter,
It's horrific.
and he
Jeez.
pulls out her eyeball.
Oh! So this is fun for everyone. So
And this is what I've done. I'm going to finish this series and kind of think about it for a little bit.
Yeah,
But
go for it.
I'll probably watch another season, probably
Yeah.
early on, just to kind of see what the difference is.
Yeah, I've got a couple here. if you-
I know you do.
I've got a whole bag of toys. Like it's some of those toys in there.
Yes.
I was going to say,
we're gonna go play with some toys after this.
Yeah.
I got some belts, some henshin belts.
So cool.
Amazon.
And then I've got some more articulated toys. You know, I've got because they have, like I said, there's merchandising for this everything. They've got candy and they've got little capsule toys, or you could get the expensive. I've got a $100 little figure in there, so if
Wow.
you wanted to play with it.
Yeah. I don't want to play with something that could break and then
Right.
That's fine.
I'm in.
Baconsale is not responsible for any damage.
Well,
in the
I
bacon
got
cave.
one other thing to tell you about
Yes.
this. It's okay. That's the SEX appeal.
I know what you're talking
I
about.
can spell.
So, when was it? Like a few seasons back, some bunch of housewives over in Japan are like, "Well, I'll sit down and see what my kids are watching," and they started liking it, and they started.
Oh, Twilight Moms.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
Twilight ones. And so now there's a bunch of housewives that love to watch it with their kids.
How old are these guys that are generally in the show? About 20?
It depends. Like the older seasons are a little bit older.
Yeah, it
but
seems like they're a little older
Most of them
sometimes.
are barely
The
turning
dude was
18.
50 in the suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so most of them they're getting younger and younger. So the newest one, he's barely 18, but they range between like 25.
But these moms are.
Yeah. But there's also other older people that are really good looking in the show that you could go after.
Oh, yeah, everyone is good looking. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They're all
Even
boy
that
of the
old-
year.
Yeah.
Even the old
Japanese good looking.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So I will say, for me, this was accessible and maybe only accessible because back in the mid 90s, I watched, ironically and unironically, the Mighty Morphin Power
Who
Rangers.
doesn't like Power Rangers?
And so with that foundation,
White Ranger. You
yeah,
don't-
Joel didn't.
what?
You were a little bit too
I
old.
was a little bit too old.
I
for
don't
it.
care. I was in college when it came out, but I watched it for different reasons.
Truthfully, like I used to make movies with my friends, and we'd be Power Ranger,
Yeah.
and I was a Blue Ranger, and I had like blue sweats, and I put whitey tighties over the blue sweats,
2018 was so long ago.
and we'd fight the Muddy Buddies. The Muddy Buddies were our villains,
Yes.
and just because like I have that memory, the nostalgia for me, and so when I watched this, I said, yeah, it's not that far removed. In fact, it's a few years older, more mature for
It's
it.
a
so-
darker version of Power Rangers.
Yes,
and so it
Amazon
was
writers.
accessible. And if you lived in that time at all, like why not check it out?
Yeah, it's fun. If you like Power Rangers, this is in
If
your
you
alley.
like Power Rangers but wanted like a little more grit, watch Amazon Writers.
Yes.
Like I
Yeah.
said, they suffer from anxiety and depression.
And I would give it kind of like not TV-14 because that sounds like they're like
That's fair.
it's a little gory, but it's like black blood.
Yes.
But then there's
in,
also
in the movie, they turn it to real blood.
Oh,
So
okay.
just to let you know, it kind of gets woo.
Yeah, but even then, most of the time, like they're punching each other the whole time.
Yeah.
There's no actual blood.
Yeah, but
as they're
sometimes no,
fighting.
the claws like from some of the monsters, the bugs that come into their back,
Yeah.
Sometimes,
and then
yeah.
this like blood gushing out of their back, like that's red.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be gory.
It's like Mortal Kombat 2 gory. It's all pixelated.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. It is definitely CGI
and,
blood.
And when you get into the later series, you'll actually see like some really, really good hand-to-hand combat.
Okay, so the choreography
suit.
does-
When I watch these though, like I mocked at the fact that a butterfly can suddenly know karate, but it's more
It's Mothra.
It's more the fact that I watch this and I'm like, that's impressive that they choreographed this fight, like choreography.
Like
I'm
10-minute fights at least.
I'm like, that's
they're
a lot
long
of
fights.
effort.
Oh.
And they don't cut very much
No.
either, which honestly works for it and against it. It's like, oh, cool, these guys are working really hard. And the other time, I'm like, man, I wish they would cut this so I didn't see them like rolling around on the ground
There's
trying
a lot
to
of
figure out how to
rolling
get
around.
up.
I'm talking
Yeah.
about choreography. There's one series called Five. It's not my favorite. That's the one I'm just like, ugh. But
You don't like the number 5?
no, not the series. But they have these helmets that light up really bright. And so you could see, but the thing is, they didn't perfect the helmets, so the actors were blinded
Oh.
when they were fighting. So they actually had to learn how to choreograph pretty much blind. So
Wow.
this is the dedication that these actors go through, and you're talking, like I said, 45, 50 episodes. Wow.
That's
in a
crazy.
year.
Yeah, it's a lot of dedication.
dedication.
So,
It
and
is.
these people become family. Like, if you look at, like, let's take the Fives actors. The main guy and the bad guy, they're still like best buddies today because they practically lived together for 18 months.
And no one ate the other one, right?
No.
Okay.
No,
Although I know of. They might have brought him back.
Even
Yeah.
though,
Ate
even
him,
though
brought him back.
Kaiser, I wouldn't put it past him.
We talked about how you can jump into any series without any sort of background or context, and it will come as the show goes along. Are there any like standalone episodes of it? Can you recommend specific episodes to be like, just watch this one
Specific
for a sample,
episode.
or should they just watch like Amazon Writers?
Amazon
from the
Writers,
beginning?
yeah.
Yeah, I would say, start with writers just because it's
Even though
easy.
it's darker.
Yeah.
Okay.
But because it's hard just to watch a single episode because you're like, what's going on here?
It's true. There's so much of an arc.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, there's no way you could
I have
like
my
get enjoyment
favorite-
from just
yeah.
watching the pilot.
yeah, like
Right.
I have my favorite episodes that I like to go back and rewatch, because I
But they're
already
in
know what's
context.
going
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
you know.
So, and then you said also give it 10 episodes, and they're
Yeah.
they're half hour each.
yeah,
Yes.
22 minutes.
Yeah.
For the Amazon's was a little bit longer. It was 45.
And they all end with like rock.
Amazon.
Yeah, like I said, I have that album.
Good outro music.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So Nicole, is there anything you're going to kick yourself for not bringing up or talking
Yeah.
about? Like,
If you are a fan of Doctor Who and you could get, it's on that same line. The storyline, the monsters can be cheesy, the storyline can be great, and it for some reason it makes a nice baby.
cool. No, that's a great synopsis. I love that synopsis.
The baby
Yeah.
of Doctor Who and Power Rangers. Is that what you're saying?
I'm totally into that. Not the baby, the idea.
I mean, it definitely
Whoa.
shows how geeky it is,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
and gives you a taste of what the theme will be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you don't like one series, try a different one because it's totally
There's
different.
lots.
But if you like some writer that they'll have movies and they'll have writers join together.
Crazy.
Okay.
Well, and thank you, Nicole, for
Yes,
bringing this to our
thank
attention.
you.
Thank you, Nicole.
And I apologize for having your listeners go away.
No,
Not at all.
One thing that I've heard about Baconsale is some people have said this, that the subject matter, like they enjoy learning about new things, and we're able to present it in a way that's
We do hear that a
somewhat
lot.
entertaining.
We do.
So
Yeah.
it's like I didn't really know anything about this, and so I wasn't really interested in listening. But then I listened and I enjoyed it.
Right.
So that's
It's hard to articulate about a series when everyone else in the room is like, huh?
yeah, true.
So just
and
go
we may
watch
have done
it.
that to a lot of people.
But as a
today.
guest, you've done a great job. Honestly,
try.
As we're talking about
You've done a
Mamamoo.
good job. Yeah.
because like we've totally talked about Amazon Writers the whole time, but there's a
But see,
40
it's
plus
because-
year history here.
because that's what
that's
you know.
that's our open door. That's our
Yeah.
gateway.
Yes.
It's 50 years.
Yeah, 50 years.
In 2021. I'm actually going to meet one of my favorite writers next month. Yay!
Oh, they're coming to Comic-Con?
Well, they're going. It's called Japan Heroes in Pasadena, and
Oh.
I actually get to have dinner with one of my favorite writers, actually Blade.
Wow.
Wow.
I'm so excited.
That is impressive.
Yeah.
It's always
How are you
it's always
gonna
fun
act?
and good indeed to meet your heroes.
I'm going to be a total geek.
Yeah.
Are you going to wear the belt?
Send us a selfie.
I should wear a belt. I actually have
Dressed up as
secondary-
Starfish-Hitler.
In California, don't think so.
Oh, yeah. Probably not. Wow.
No, but they
I got
have-
my Halloween
they-
costume for this year.
No, Jacob. No.
I dare you.
No.
I dare you.
Honestly, that's the first Halloween costume that sounded good in years.
No. What does that say about you, Jacob?
I can't
Anyway,
Are you gonna have to bleep out Starfish?
Not at all. I don't even care.
it may be a hashtag.
Starfish Hitler thing.
Anyway. So Nicole, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you.
No.
Yes,
we really do
thank
appreciate
you.
it. At
Thank
least
you for putting up with
exposing us
me.
to this kind of new world. Is there anything you want to plug or anyone you want to give a shout out here at the end?
Oh no, I work with a bunch of other podcasts, but if you look under Beatles Diva, that's me.
Beatles Diva. At Beatles Diva.
Beatles Diva, like the band, not the bug.
Yeah.
Right. Is that on Twitter or is that on Instagram? Is that on
Twitter,
Facebook?
Instagram, Facebook.
Beatles Diva.
Perfect.
That's
And-
me. Yeah. So, and if you want to talk Transformers, I'm involved with most of the Transformers podcasts.
Okay.
Nice. Well,
Actually,
there you go.
Blake Densley would actually totally love to listen to
Okay.
that. Yeah, he's a big fan. I just outed him as a Transformers fan.
I know people.
But before we sign off, we would like to thank our patrons, in particular the I Am the Listener tier, which includes Adrian Gray, Stephen Ross, Jordan Rexick, A More Civilized Podcast, Terry Finley, and Greg's Guide to New Music Podcast. And then we have our Bacon Council, which includes Nicole D. Hale,
Thank you, Nicole.
Spencer Myers, The Spirit of 38, Chris Anderson, Ryan Farron, and Matt Smudro, and Reverse Listener.
Awesome.
Thank you for being patrons
Thank
of
you,
Bacon
guys.
Cell, and thank you, listener, for listening to us. But if you want to find me, you still can't find me at 786Joel at Twitter. Or you can find me.
It's never going to happen, Joel.
Right.
If it hasn't happened yet, it's not going to happen. You're done.
1 year later.
Yeah, it's over. Yeah.
The Quick Wits performs every Saturday night at the Midville Performing Arts Center. For more details, go to qwcomedy.com or go to the Quick Wits Facebook page.
If you want to find me on Twitter and Instagram, it's at Kenny3DD. If you want to read my movie reviews, it's ShowtimeShowdown.com.
Say faster.
You can find me on Twitter at Jacob A. Rogers. Also find Baconsale on Twitter at Baconsale and on Instagram. Go to tpublic.com/Baconsale for our merchandise.
Or be a patron and see the packet that Nicole brought.
All right, thank you for listening. And this is Starfish Hitler signing off.
No!
Take your protein snack.
Your mom's a pro-
No! Why would you? Everything's fine.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Oh, it's contaminated.
You want a hug, buddy?
No.
I do.
Here's my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful voice.
And
Does that satisfy you? Look me in the eyes when I
thanks for
talk to
having
you.
me. I'm just
Yeah, I'm
nervous.
satisfied. And then, Nicole, I kind of hated it. By the way, you've outgeeked us. Talk down to us, please. By the way, if you work for Shocker Organization, probably not good guys.
Is that not common in common? How did that bug learn to do karate?
You had a sword the whole time.
I don't mind being eaten as long as it's by you. And I went, what the heck am I watching?
Because it's meant to be. It's meant to be touching.
I don't care if it's my best friend. If they start chomping on me, I am killing them.
Hold on.
No, he's my friend. And I'm like, he just ripped
Like he went
off
dark.
your arm. It's okay to be a cannibal. And I'm like, is that the moral we're going for here? The actors have to be pretty boys.
It's
They're
basically
basically-
Kent's life.
I'm not saying blonde white guys need more jobs.
Kent, stop trying to whitewash Kamen Riders.
Yeah, Kent.
But I'm saying it's 2019. What about the inclusiveness?
Diversity in Japan.
Right, exactly.
What's up, dough pants? That's both on the nose and out there at the same time.
Band name, pet name.
No.
Pet name? Not
Joel
touching
will
it.
not even go there.
We should just stop the show and stare at this together.
I will not stare at Starfish Hitler.
It's worth it, man. It
name of
is
the show.
worth it.
Oh, he's a bad guy? What if my interest is very large belts with motorcycle handles?
Hey, look, a
Yeah.
hobo eating someone, not that far out of the realm of possibility.
This is in Florida, Kent.
It's no Starfish Hitler.
Yeah.
Unicorn
this up.
yummy.
Yes.
I think we just got arrested. And I was a Blue Ranger, and I had like blue sweats, and I put whitey tighties over the blue sweats.
2018 was so long ago.
When you do Magic the Gathering.
Never.
Starfish Hitler made me do math.